Welcome to Joy of Business with host Simone Milasas, a dynamic business leader with a difference. Simone has founded and operated many businesses from a young age and has always done business differently. Today, Simone is the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness and travels the world presenting Joy of Business programs using access tools and empowering people to know that they can create business in a different way and make money doing it. Simone Milasas, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hey everybody, welcome to Joy Business. You're Simone Milasas, your host, and I'm actually in Costa Rica. So we're going to see how this goes because Costa Rica, love this country, absolutely stunning and beautiful, and it's very, very tropical. It reminds me of home in the sense that, you know, you can have 4 seasons in one day, and it just started to pour torrential rain, which is awesome. I love it. So hopefully that sound won't come through to you guys there. Now, what am I talking about today? Well, one of my favorite subjects, which is money, but one of my favorite subjects about money is actually being able to change your point of view around money. And Brendon, who I have on the show today, just said is him, which is pretty much true as well. So now, Brendon Watt has been on the show a few times. He's my partner, my enjoyable other, we sometimes call each other husband and wife. Whatever we want to say. We've been living together for 6 years. We have a kid. We have 2 houses now, actually, and we've created a lot together, financially, creatively, as partners, all of that. So I asked him if he could be on this show today because I'm actually writing a book called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. And when I first met Brendon Watt, he definitely had a very, very different point of view about money. And what I wanted to talk about was what his point of view was about money and how it's changed and what sort of tools he used to change it. Because I've always sort of thought that nobody should ever have a point of view. Nobody should ever be stuck with money. Nobody should have the place. It's raining so hard. I'm hoping this is going to turn out okay. We will talk loud. So, but nobody should ever have a problem with money. And Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here wrote this book, which is absolutely fabulous. You can get it on the Access Consciousness website. Money isn't the problem, you are. So basically, it's like, what have you been unwilling to receive? What have you been unwilling to change? Or have fun with money. So, Brendon, welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So my first question to you is, I wanted to give the listeners sort of an overview of how you were, like what happened, how did you grow up with money? What was your family life like with money? Did you talk about it, not talk about it? Was it hidden? Did you have it, not have it? What was that like for you?
No, well, for me it was, I remember I'll yell. I remember growing up and I used to ask my parents, so how much did this cost? And they'd say, none of your business. But I'd be like, oh, but how much did this cost? And everything I asked about money, their response was every time, none of your business, you don't need to know about that. So growing up, I pretty much figured that money was, you know, something you'd avoid, something that wasn't existent. And in my early years of adulthood, it was something that showed up a lot. I remember, you know, I've told you before, Simone, I'd get bills in the mail from, you know, power companies or phone companies or whoever it was, and I wouldn't open the mail because I figured if I don't open the mail, then then I can't see that I owe a bill. So I could just avoid it. Or if a private number would come up on my mobile phone or my cell phone, then if I didn't answer it, then I obviously couldn't owe any money because I didn't know anything about it. So I avoided it and avoided it and avoided it until it came to a point where I owed that much, I was in that much debt, that it was really time I had to look at it.
So tell me, what do you see, like, I mean, energetically, if your phone's ringing and then you have to ignore it or not pay attention to it, or the mail's coming in, you're putting it in a drawer and not paying attention to it, what can you tell me about what that created for you energetically? Like, what are you aware of now that you weren't maybe aware of then?
Well, I remember one time when I was sharing a flat with a friend of mine, and he was away at the time, and the power bills must have been coming in, but I obviously wasn't opening the mail, and then the power went out. So I ran a power cord from one of the power points outside, because it was a block of flats. They have power points outside that weren't anything to do with the flat. And I ran it into the unit and plugged everything in, and I didn't think it was a problem. I just thought, great, I got power again. And he came home from this trip, and he looked at me like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, the power went out, and I don't have any money to pay the bill. But I thought it was completely normal. Like, I'd grown up with poverty, and poverty was a real thing for me. It was just like, it wasn't wrong, or it wasn't right or wrong. It was just, I don't have any money, so what else am I going to do? Of course I'm going to run a power cord from outside. But that's what it was like for me. I mean...
So you actually got creative.
Yeah. Oh, well, I needed power. I needed some way to keep the fridge cold and lights on. So, but I mean, that's what it was like for me. It wasn't like it wasn't. I didn't even notice I was in debt because I was that uneducated about money. Debt wasn't even a thing for me. It was just I have no money. So, but I remember the time when Simone and I moved into the first house we got together, and we were talking one day, and I brought up, and I was like, oh, and by the way, I've got $200,000 worth of tax debt. And she was like, what? And she was like, well, that's kind of a big deal. But even then I was like, really? It's a big deal that I've got debt? But once again, I didn't realize that debt was a bad thing or anything. It was just money to me, and money meant nothing. I was never educated on it. Therefore, I had no respect for it or no honouring of it.
Right, yeah, I remember having that conversation with you, and I was like, we bought a house together, we're living together. Isn't it the sort of thing you tell someone before you do that you have that much debt? And you were like, you sort of treated it like I forgot about it. I left the butter out of the fridge last night sort of attitude.
Yeah, but that's what money was to me, I forgot about it. Like, it didn't, it wasn't something that, I learned to avoid it that well that I avoided it from myself to a capacity that few people could. I was good at it.
So one of the things that I have, and I actually haven't spoken to you about doing this show, so I don't know if I'm stepping on toes here, but one of the things that you said to me a while ago is when you grew up, everyone around you fought about money. Like there was always a level of violence. I mean, you grew up with, a bit of an abusive childhood, and it was always seemed to be about money. So I remember you said to me, you never wanted to have money, you never wanted to have anything to do with it because to you it equaled abuse and violence.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, and I see that for a lot of people. It's like for relationship, for instance, if someone grows up with abusive relationship, either they get a relationship the same so that they can figure it out and try and do it better than what their parents did, or say for money, for instance, if you grew up, and money was what your parents fought about, then why would you wish to have it? Because for me growing up, I tried my hardest to make my parents happy. It was like, okay, what can I do to make them happy? And they were fighting about money all the time. So obviously I couldn't do anything about money to make them happy. But it wasn't a cognitive thing. It was something that I decided somewhere along the line of, well, if this is what money feels like and is like, then why would I want to have it?
So you also mentioned happiness. So how did you see, like as a child growing up, did happiness equal money, money equal happiness, or was it just irrelevant? How did that work?
Well, for me growing up, happiness had nothing to do with money. Happiness was, for me, the way I find happiness was being on my own or doing something that made me happy, but it didn't. I mean, for all kids, it's like, what kids do you see that create their lives based on money, create their happiness based on money? They don't go, your kids don't go, well, I earned $10 today, so now I'm happy. They say, I had a great day today, so I'm happy. But as adults, we seem to go, well, I didn't earn any money today, so I'm still, I'm stupid, or I had a shitty day, or whatever it is, so I can't be happy because of money. So how many people have decided that money equals happiness? Because it doesn't. I mean, I thought that. I was like, once again, in my younger years of adulthood, I thought, if I could make more money, I could be happier. But I realized once I started making money that was irrelevant. Happiness was a choice that I needed to make and had nothing to do with the money at all.
So is there any particular moment in your life that you could say, started that awareness?
Well, I mean, I met you, and I met Gary and Dane, and I met a lot of other close friends that I have now in Access, and a lot of them have created a lot of money, and
it's not that it's created happiness for it's not that it created happiness for them or me now. It's what it was the more choices that it gives you. Like for us, for example, I love to fly in business class, and I love wearing nice clothes, and I love eating nice food, and I love all that stuff. That makes me happy, and it makes my body happy, but it's also a choice that I need to make to have that. It's not just, well, if I have $1,000 right now, I'll be happier. Because if you gave me $1,000 right now, it wouldn't create happiness. It would create, I have $1,000 right now. Awesome.
I also do get that you mentioned choice. And it's like, for me, I do get that money gives you more choice. Like, for example, you travel economy, you travel business class, or...
what's going to make you happier, economy or business class?
Or what's going to make your body happy? Yeah. Definitely business class or first class.
Or private jet.
Or private jet, which we have flown a few private jets in the past few months, which has been a lot of fun. So I do get that. So we're talking about choice, and it's like, did you actually feel like you had choice growing up with money or no choice? What was that like for you?
Well, to starters, I didn't know what choice was. For me, choice growing up was looking at what everyone else chose and then thinking, okay, is this what I should choose? Is this what I should choose? Is this what I should choose? Not what can I choose and what choices do I have here available right now. It was never about that. It was about looking at what I could choose for someone else or against someone else. So learning about choice was probably one of the first steps in being able to create a different reality with money. And the debt thing, as well. It was the debt thing. I had to look at it and go, holy shit, I'm in debt. This is not going away. So I've spent the last 30 or 30 whatever years running away from this. This is at my doorstep now, and it's knocking. It's still knocking. It's still knocking. I need to open the door, and I need to look at this. And, and I did. And that was only 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago that I started realizing how much debt I'd accumulated and what choices do I need to make to get out of this?
And we're about off to our first break. And when we come back, I'm actually going to ask Brendon about what it was like for him when he did realize that he was in debt, and then what choices he had to make. Back to that C word again, the choice word. And like meeting with accountants and bookkeepers and starting to get that in order. It's like, what was that like for you? And what tools did you use in order to start changing your point of view? So in the meantime, while you're on break, if you want to check out Joy of Business, go to accessjoyofbusiness.com. And I'm going to give you a quick little advert here. Don't forget, I'm coming to Denver, Colorado, doing a class, Joy of Business 101 and 102, from the 1st to the 3rd of September. And you can jump on live stream too. Yes, it will be. How does it get any better than that? So we'll be back real soon. Don't go away. And we'll see you soon. You're with Brendon Watt and Simone Milasas on Joy of Business.
What if your job, your life, and your business didn't have to look or feel like anyone else's around you? The Joy of Business tools and classes aren't about following a set path to success. They are a treasure box of questions, tools, and resources for you to expand what you already know about business and take the leap into more possibilities. Learn more about the Access Joy of Business 101 class by going to accessjoyofbusiness.com/101. What do you know that could change your business and the world? accessjoyofbusiness.com/101.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with Simone Milasas, and I think we've stopped the rain. I think there's a song about that, but we won't sing it for you. We're on Joy Business. You're with Brendon Watt and Simone Milasas. Now, I actually have Emily Russell here too, who works with Joy Business team. She's also a Joy Business facilitator. And I'm going to convince her to do a show with me as well, because she was just talking about being in debt too. She said, oh, it wasn't as big, but I did have 30,000, 40,000. It doesn't have to be big debt. It's just that the mentality, the thing that I see is the mentality is, oh, it's normal, rather than what would it take never to have any debt. Now, there's good, bad, and bad debt. I would describe it as the bad debt is the stuff that you're being completely unaware with and sort of living way outside your means. Now, the good debt is, I mean, myself and Brendon have 2 mortgages. Okay, we have 2 houses. It's like investment properties. So, and we also have a large stock portfolio and different things that they sort of outweigh each other, and it's making us money. So, but that's a whole different scenario too. So what I wanted to ask you, Brendon, was what was it like when the first time that you sort of, I guess, took hold of your financial life and knew that you were the one that had to make a difference, like you were the one that had to make some more choices?
Well, I mean, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of good friends around to, to bounce things off and, and say, look, this is where I'm at. But I also surrounded myself with people that had money. So I educated myself. I thought, okay, so if I'm going to get out of this, the first thing that came up for me was I'm going to need to educate myself about money. So for me, that was, spending time with people who knew about money. That could be, watching the finance channel. It could be reading anything to do with people who actually have created education around money and who are educated with money. And just educating myself. And then I could look at, okay, so to get out of debt, I'm going to need to do this, this, and this. What are my choices? What do I need to choose here? And then what feels lightest, and go for it. And I did. And, that was a couple of years ago, and it's completely turned around. I mean, I don't have any debt now, apart from, mortgages and stuff like that. But all the debt is gone. And now rather than earn this money, let's say you earn $1,000 a week, but you have all this debt, you feel like you're earning no money. So creation feels like you feel like you're taking a step forward and 2 steps back. Step forward, 2 steps back. So now it's just about moving forward. It's not about the back steps as well.
So tell me about the difference between I don't know, when we first used to go, we had a different accountant as well, and you'd be like, like you never felt great when you walked out. And now it's like you love having financial, meetings or, tax meetings before the end of the financial year with our accountant. What's the difference in the creation?
Well, the difference is that's the avoidance of money. If I had the point of view that I need to avoid debt and avoid money, then how could I speak to an accountant? I mean, accountants are boring enough as it is, and if you're an accountant on here, I'm sorry, I apologise, but I mean, it's not that easy to talk to an accountant when you have a point of view that money sucks. So for me, it was getting over that, and I'm changing that point of view of what I had around money. And now when we meet with our accountant, I'm like, now what do we do? What can we do with this? What can we do with that? And how do we put this there? And how do we save tax here? And it's just exciting, because creation is exciting again, and not about creating more debt. Now it's about creating a future and wealth. So
can you give the listeners, say 3 tools or 3 questions, anything, that if they're listening to you right now and they're going, yeah, that's great, he changed his point of view. How do you change your point of view, Brendon?
All right, so my number 1 tool would be 10% account, straight up, number 1. If you can do that, you'll get out of debt. And reason being is if you can put away 10% of everything you earn, straight away, if you earn $1,000 a week, before you go and pay your bills and whatever it is, put $100 into a separate bank account, or keep it as cash in drawer or your safe or whatever it is, and don't touch it. So if you earn $1,000 a week, and that's $100, in 3 years' time, how much money will you have? I don't even know. That's what, 105,000. You have $15,000, just over. So if you have $15,000 sitting in a separate account, will you feel like will you feel like you have money or not have money? Will you feel like you can create money or not create money? And for me, I did it probably 5 times, and I'd get to $2,000 or $3,000 and then I'd spend it. And then I'd get to $5,000 and then I'd spend it. And this was, back around the same time, a couple of years ago, I said to you, Simone, this isn't working and I really want to do this. I really want to change my money situation. But that was the demand I had also. Can you hold this money for me? Can you hold my 10%? And
you said to me, don't give it back to me even if I ask for it.
And I think I asked for it a couple of times.
And I was like, no. And you were like,
you
what?
can't have it. I'm like, oh, damn. But anyway, so that was probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't touched it since. So it's built and built and built and built. And now I have a certain amount of money in the bank, so I don't feel like now I don't have any money.
Can I ask you, what amount of money was it that you required to have in your 10% account before you felt like you had money?
I think at the start it was 10,000, and then I hit that amount, and then it was 30, and then it goes to 50. But once you get to the certain amounts, you go, oh wow, I have money. Now what else? And and then it was 30, and then 50, or whatever. So that was my first thing, and that would be my number one tip on getting out of debt. My next thing would be writing down your expenses, everything. I mean, we do ours every few months, and we put down Christmas presents on there, a monthly thing. So we know when it comes to Christmas, we might spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on Christmas presents or Christmas lunch or having family stay over. That's an expense. That's something.
Well, I remember we worked out one year we spent $8,000 on Christmas. So instead of going, $8,000 at Christmas, we divided it into 12.
Put it on our monthly expenses.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how you work out that monthly expenses.
Well, okay. So do yourself up if you're old school, write it down on a piece of paper. If you're new school, Excel spreadsheet, which I hate because I can't use them. But Simone, I can copy and paste like no one else. But I mean, but do up a thing and say, car registration, car petrol, car whatever, house. You got rent or mortgage. You got electricity. You got water. And then you got kids. You got school. You got clothes. And then you got you've got clothes. You got whatever it is. But every single thing you spend money on, you need to put that in there because that's what you run your life with. That's what your body requires. So put it all down as a monthly thing or a weekly thing, whatever it is for you, and then look at it. And if it's, let's say, like I said, you earn $1,000 a week, you do your expenses and it's $1,500, is that really going to work? Okay, I'm $500 down. Rather than going into a freak out and going, okay, I need to cut my expenses, I need to cut down on how I live my life, I need to, stop having as much fun, I can't go out to dinner anymore, whatever it is, look at, okay, so what else do I need to add to my life now to create that extra $500 and more? What can you add to your life rather than what you need to take away from it?
So, Brendon, the first time you did that, do you remember the amount and what that was like for you?
I don't. I have no idea. But I think it was, I couldn't tell you the amount, to be honest, but it wouldn't have been much. But I remember it was definitely over what I was earning. It was well and truly over what I was earning. So I looked at, okay, hence where the debt was coming from, because I had no clarity on what it cost me to run my life. So, like, using the $1,000, for example, if I was earning the $1,000 a week and then I did my expenses and it was $2,500, if I kept going into debt more and more and more, but I didn't know why. I just thought it was poor management or the universe, God hated me. God, why didn't you love me? But it wasn't. But I had no education there. So when I put it down, I went, oh, that's why I'm going into debt. It's because I'm not making enough money to cover my expenses. So it created absolute clarity for me. I went, oh, okay, cool. So I'm $1,000 or $1,500 down a week on what I need to be earning. So you have choices. Either you cut all the things out of your life that you love doing, or you look at, okay, what do I need to add to my life today to make more money? What else can I create? What other revenue streams?
So
but
when you...
Also, questions are a valuable thing. You need to ask questions because the universe will provide. It's not a linear thing. And for me, I grew up as it was a linear thing. But once I started asking questions, I realized, I could ask for something and it would start showing up. But you need to walk your talk to a certain degree. You can't go, well, universe, give me $1,000 and have all these things. It's like, no, it's not about that. It's ask and you shall receive is what would it take for this to show up? And have trust in yourself that it will. Have trust in the universe that it will, because that's what it was for me. I knew my life would change, and I knew that if I asked questions and I started making different choices, it would. I didn't know how, but it did. So.
And do you have any more questions before we go to the next break of what questions you did ask to make a change?
No.
Okay.
Not that I can
so, well, some of the things I would ask too, though, it's like, even the simple things of like, what else is possible? Or how does it get any better than this? And it's like, if you're aware of as Brendon was talking about, you're aware of your financial reality, then you can change it. If you're aware of your financial reality where it currently is, don't judge it. It's not about judging it. And then it's about actually asking for more to show up. Even just like, okay, so what would it take for more money to show up in my life today? So when
All right. I got a question, but I don't know if we have time.
No, go for it.
Well, and also ask, what do I hate about money? What do I hate about what do I love about not having money? And it might be confronting because you go, well, I don't hate money. I love it, but I don't have any. If you don't have any, you don't love it. And that was the one thing that I had to be brutally honest with myself about and go, wow, there's something here I don't love about having money. Why? Yeah. So ask yourself that and be willing to look at it and go, wow, that's a weird ass point of view. What would it take for me to change that?
And I noticed you did change it.
I love it. Awesome.
Exactly, you do. But we also got to the place where you realized that it was always about arguing, and then you didn't have to argue to have money. So we are going off to another break. Stay there, don't go away. We'll be coming back right to you soon with Brendon Watt, Simone Milasas on Joy of Business.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Radio Namaste leads you down the yellow brick road into portals of consciousness with the blue-collar goddess as your host. Interviews with humans who could be famous or just popular, and answers to everything are on the agenda. Tune into OMTimes Radio and drop in on Thursdays at 3 Eastern. It's a different brand of enlightenment.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Would your business and life like to be bigger? Would you like to have more fun with everything you do? Simone Milasas travels the world facilitating Joy of Business seminars. These classes are for you if you would like to create more money and joy, expand your business, and work smarter, not harder. Join her live or watch the online seminar from the comfort of your own home. Go to www.accessjoyofbusiness.com to register and for more information.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Hi, everybody. I just had to quieten everyone on the set. Quiet on the set. It's Simone Milasas, your Joy Business on OMTimes, and thank you for joining us. We're talking about, as I said at the beginning, one of my favorite topics, money. The topic that a lot of people grow up with talking about like, money. Did you hear that? I whispered it because you're not supposed to talk about it. What if you did talk about it? What if you embraced it? What if you loved it? What if you yelled out every day, show me the money? Like that movie with Tom Cruise in it, yeah.
You're going to be willing to look like a weirdo, though. Like walking down the street, show me the money.
Well, actually, when I used to drive in traffic, I used to do it all the time because I knew I had to practice actually receiving money. So I used to yell it out going, show me the money.
Well, and if that's what it was, if that's what was required to have money was to look like a weirdo, would you be willing to do it?
Yes. And everything it doesn't allow that to show up, where you destroy and uncreate it, writing on good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyond.
Another question you could ask is, what am I not willing to do for money? Because a lot of people have these things where it's like, well, I do this, this, and this for money. But if you truly desire to have all the money in the world and to create everything and have everything it is you desire, you need to be willing to do whatever it takes. And that was one of the things that I got. And it was another thing that I looked at was, I need to have that amount of demand in my world. If I'm going to change my life that much and I'm going to create money in that way and have that much of everything, I'm really going to be needing to do whatever it takes. So, one thing I see with a lot of people is people are, not willing to do whatever it takes.
So we just arrived in Costa Rica by private jet from Mexico.
We got met on the tarmac by this police car with the sirens on it. It was like, I felt like I was a drug dealer getting on the plane. I was like, this is awesome.
Well, it was pretty funny because the people we were met with, a couple of them, they all just bought new sunglasses. So they all looked like, they had these sunglasses on and these hats.
I looked like Vice. I was
totally looked like Vice. So what's the difference between, I remember the first time you flew to America was in economy. The first time you flew all the way from Australia to Italy, which is quite a trip on economy. And then now you're traveling in a private jet. Listen, did you ever think that was possible?
Yeah, I always knew that was possible. But the funny thing was the first trip that I made to America was for a 7-day in Costa Rica. And I had $10,000 in the bank. I'd saved up, and I was like, I'm going to go to America, and I'm going to travel business class, and I'm going to go to this class, and I was just like, what? And I was looking at business class tickets, and they were going to cost me $6,000 return to America. So I had enough to do that with the class, and I was like, cool. And then I looked at it and was like, why would I choose that? I have $10,000 right now. I could get an economy ticket for $1,000, do the class, and I could still have $5,000 to either do more or create more or have a little bit more freedom with money. Because one thing I know about money is when you have it, you have more freedom to create more. I can create more with it than I can without. So I looked at it and went, wow, this is crazy. Like, I had this weird point of view that if I could look like I had money, then I'd make more money. Or if I could buy this business class ticket, then I could act wealthy for a 13-hour flight or whatever it was. But it was, for me, looking at that was, okay, I need to be a little bit more pragmatic here with, A, the way I look at money, and B, the way that I spend it.
But when you talk about that, I can see the place that you actually had choice, though. You could have chosen to spend all your money and do that, yet you chose different.
Yes. I think I chose to go to Vegas, but anyway, that's another story. But, no, but I mean,
Black or red? Black or red,
just do it. Hit me. No, but then, I mean, I did lots of economy trips and, and I started looking at, I knew I wanted to travel business class and I'd walk on the plane and I'd see these people in business and I'd be like, rather than, I see a lot of people walk on planes now and go, oh, look at them people, rich people. That wasn't me. I walked on the plane and I'd be like, I'm having that. Whatever it takes, what's it going to take for me to have that? That'd be it. Go and sit in my seat, have the flight, whatever. I started saving up miles with different airlines and then I'd get upgrades and then I'd get an upgrade into business class and I'd go, this is awesome. This is what I'd like my life to look like. What's it going to take? Sum total, that was it. And that's what it took for it to start showing up.
So hence, when you're talking about that, I hear you actually asking more questions too, which is pretty much what I did. Like when I started traveling a lot with going to classes with Gary Douglas and Dane Heer, the founder and creators of Access Consciousness, I knew I loved to travel, and I was like, this is not going to work, flying economy and staying in people's houses and sleeping on a mattress on their floor. So what have I got to change? And I made the demand that I would actually be able to travel business class and I'd be able to stay in hotel rooms. Now, the first thing I did was like what you mentioned, Brendon. I looked at what I could create with using my credit card, buying my tickets to accumulate frequent flyer points. And then I would buy my ticket early enough so that when I put in the upgrade, it would, because this is what it works with Qantas and they all work different, but you educate yourself. Again, it's about educating yourself with money and currency flows, because this is a currency flow. So I educated myself about booking tickets early enough that I could upgrade. I would get the upgrade, use the points, and then, pay my credit card off by the end of the month so that I wasn't in debt and yet I was creating a business class ticket without paying for it. So what if you could create more in your life, not just through having the money, through different places and different avenues? And that's one of the questions I actually wanted to ask you too, Brendon, is because it's sort of like I see a lot of people look at money and they think that money can only show up in a certain way. I work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I work hourly. I have this one job. That's how I get my money. So then that's an end result. It's a conclusion and a limitation of how money can show up. And what I wanted to ask you was, where do you see money coming from and how do you see it showing up, and what has changed for you in the past couple of years since you have definitely changed your point of view around money?
Well, the number one thing is, like you just said, is change your point of view around money, because if you have point of view creates your reality. Straight up, that's it. If you have the point of view that I earn $20 an hour and I work 40 hours a week, that's $800. That's all you're going to earn. That's it. If you say that's what I got, that's what I do, that's it. Because as soon as you go to conclusion of that's the money I earn, that's what shows up in your life. But if you go, okay, cool, I've got a 40-hour job, I earn $20 an hour, that's $800 a week. That's awesome. That's my bread and butter. That covers my rent, my food, my whatever. Now what else is possible? What else can I create? What other revenue streams can I have? And once again, it's question all the time. Because if you start asking those questions, if your first thing in the morning when you get up, rather than I've got to go to work, is awesome, I'm going to work, and what else is possible? I guarantee you, if you're sincere with that question and you're sincere with the point of view you have around you're going to create your life different and you're going to create your money flows different no matter what it takes, I guarantee you within 6 months you'll have a different financial reality. Guarantee it.
Well, it's funny, Brendon, because you just mentioned
and I put the clause in sincere, so
that's the caveat. Yeah. We were just talking about yesterday, I think it was, about, we travel a lot, and in the next few months to the end of the year, we are going away. I'm traveling a lot more than what you are, and we're taking...
I get to be at home.
You get to be at home. Okay, so this is the thing I'm coming up with. You get to be at home, and you said, at least I get to be at home. We've got our son named Nash, etc., and, he travels with us a fair bit too. And you said, I know I'll be bored within 2 weeks probably, because we both love traveling. We both love living the life that we do. And then we laughed and we went, but you'll probably create something different. You'll probably find some land that we can buy and we can build something on it. Or what sort of revenue stream could you create? And one of the things I'd love you to talk about is when I first met you, you were a tiler. So you're a tradesman is what we call it in Australia.
Tradie.
And, you had a business with someone. You were being a tradesman. And then now, can you talk a little bit more about how you came about to create so many more revenue streams? Because what I see that you create in your life too is there's no end to it. There's no finale of how many revenue streams you have. And can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, first thing I looked at was, I used to work my ass off 5 days a week or 5.5 or 6 days a week. And then I'd be like, oh, cool, Sunday's here. And I'd lie around and watch TV or drink beer or do whatever. And, I remember when I met you, I'd do the same thing. But it got to a place where I looked at it and I started looking at my life and looking at whether I had enough in it and whether I was truly happy with what I was creating. And I was like, no, I'm bored shitless. So I looked at, okay, what else can I add to my life? And that's where I look at now is, do I truly desire to go, like, we have money. I could go home for 2 months and literally relax. I could just go home and ride the jet skis and chill out. Would that work for me? Not in a million years. I need to do lots of things to actually, if I'm creating my life, I'm happy. If I'm sitting around, awesome, go and ride the jet skis for a day or whatever. But if that's my life, I just knew that it wasn't enough for me. I knew that having a 9 to 5 wasn't enough for me. I knew that sitting around drinking beer on a Sunday wasn't enough for me. Not to say it can't be for you, but if it isn't, then you need to look at, first question is, what else can I add to my life? And that's what I look at every day pretty much, is what can I add to my life today? Rather than I'm too busy or I can't do anything else, that's a lie. So, everywhere you bought that lie, destroy and uncreate that, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and popcorn, and shorts, boys and beyonds, and then move forward. And when you get to, well, I'm too busy or I don't want to do that or whatever it is, look at, is this really my point of view or is this someone else's?
And tell me a bit more about, like, say, we have got a stock portfolio. It's like, what was your point of view at the beginning and what is it now? Like, what did you have to change in order to create a very successful stock portfolio?
Well, stocks excite me because there's something about making money that quickly that excites the hell out of me. I mean, I remember I was 11 or 12 when I used to go to the TAB, which is the gambling place in Australia where you go and put money on horses. My dad would give me like $1,000 cash and this list of horses he'd want me to go and put on. And be like, okay. And I'd go down there and put it on, and then I'd go and collect his winnings. And I was like, wow, that was like, I'd go and either he'd lose all the money and then be this abusive asshole, or he'd send me back down there and I'd pick up $3 or $4 grand. I'd be like, oh, that was easy. So I had this thing about making money that quickly was fun for me. And it's the same with stocks. It's like, wow, you can make money that quick by literally using your awareness. And that's what I love about stocks is, okay, if we buy this, will it make us money? Yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Okay, cool, let's buy it.
Well, we actually had a stock portfolio that did so well that we ended up selling a bunch of shares and buying a house on the river in Noosa, Queensland, which is not a cheap deal.
No one else can do that, though.
No, nobody else can do that. So anyway, we're off to our next break. We'll be back really soon. Don't go away. Like I said, you're with Brendon Watt and Simone Milasas. And Emily's here. Maybe she might have something to say next segment. We might ask her a question. Give her some leeway in. All right, don't go away. Access Joy Business. Check it out.
What if you are the only one who truly knows how to create your business and your life? This September, the Joy of Business is coming to Denver, and Simone Milasas will be giving you tools and practices to discover what works for you to expand your business and your life. The one-day seminar, Access Business 101, has no prereqs and is followed by 2 days of Access Business 102. These classes are for anyone desiring to create more. Join us at accessjoyofbusiness.com/classes. Is now the time to create what you know is possible but haven't been choosing?
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Join Elliot Jollish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jollish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jollish Hour. Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with Simone Milasas, your host, and Brendon Watt, and we're talking about my co-host. We're talking about getting out of debt. Joyfully, which is going to be my new book coming out. It'll be out at the end of November, so you'll be able to buy it for all your friends and family to give them as a Christmas gift. What a perfect Christmas gift. People complaining about money. Here, read this. So
we're actually doubling up on this show because we want to give you guys the tools, but we're actually also using you to make a chapter in the book. So I just want to be straight up about that. If you read the book and you're like, I've heard all this before, that's why. So we were talking about in the break just then about, number one was we were looking at, okay, so what other tools do we need to give, like practical tools for people to get out of debt and what we've used to get out of debt. And the thing that we were talking about was the thing that Simone and I had in common together was we had the demand in our world that this needs to change. That's what you need to have if you're going to get out of debt. If you're going to make more money, you need to look at this needs to change. No matter what I need to do, I'm getting out of debt. I'm going to create my life. I'm going to create money no matter what. I don't care. I'm doing it. If you have that, you will do it. Like I said before, your point of view creates your reality. And if your point of view is I'll do whatever it takes, you will do whatever it takes, you will make more money. And the other thing we were talking about was this, when we were talking about our share portfolio, was we bought this stock. It was very low. It was a penny stock. And we bought a lot. Well, we actually bought it when it was high, and we bought it when it was low, but we bought a lot when it was low. And recently it went up a lot because we knew it would. We kept buying it. Everyone kept telling us, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. Our accountants would tell us, friends would tell us, family would tell us, don't do it. You're putting too much money in. You're putting all your eggs in one basket. What did we do? We kept buying it. Why? Because we knew it would go up. And like we have Emily here as well, and she was talking about the same thing, and she was saying, yeah, I was looking at buying that stock, and you know, my accountant was saying, well, you could, but I think this is a company that's going to just take money, and they were taking a lot of capital in because they needed it to create what they created. We knew that. We knew they were going to make money, so we did it. So my point is what if you went with what you know is what's going to create your financial reality with up instead of what other people tell you. So you'll go to your accountant, for instance, and they'll say, well, you should do this because it's safe, or should do that, or you should do this. What is it that you know about money that no one else does? Or what is it you know about money that you're not willing to acknowledge? So what if you ask yourself this, what do I know about money that I'm not willing to acknowledge? And everything that doesn't allow me to perceive, know, be, and receive that, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, spoilers and beyonds. And I know that sounds nice and awesome, great. Okay, so what do I need to do to put that into action? It's like, great, universe, you're giving me this awareness about what I know about money. Now what? Ask for what it's going to take for this to show up. What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to institute for this to come to fruition? But if you hear my voice right now, you can tell that that's what I'm like when it comes to asking questions, because it's like you need to get down and dirty with it and go, look, what is it I need to do here? Rather than, oh, I want more money in my life. What's it going to take? That's not going to work. You need to make these demands of yourself, which is my serious tool for today. It's like that's what you're going to need to do if you want your life to change.
Well, it's like Google
it.
How do I open up a stock account?
Yeah.
Ring your bank, talk to your bank, and go with what you know, exactly what Brendon's saying.
Start with $10.
Yeah, exactly. Start with $10. Buy $100 worth of shares. If that feels fun to you, then do it. And you've got to do it because it's fun. And that is the main thing I would like to say to you guys, is that you have to do it because it's fun. If you do it because it's fun, then the money will show up.
And also ask people questions. But remember the tool, if you haven't listened to the show before, because I know Simone's talked about it a lot, is light and heavy. So ask people questions. Ask everyone questions. Ask whoever it is questions, but look at, okay, is this true or is this a lie? Is this light or is this heavy? So if you say to someone, like if we were, for instance, to talk to our accountant about the share and say, look, should we buy more? And she said no, and it was heavy, what would we do there? Okay, this is heavy. I don't think this is true for us. What else is possible here? So ask people questions, but don't buy into someone else's financial reality. Create your own. Look at what would I like my financial reality to look like? Because one of the things that Access has taught me is I know things. I don't think about them to know them. I don't have to read a book to know them. I just know them. So if I'm asking questions and going, okay, what do I know here about this? And then something pops up for me, okay, cool, and start going in that direction rather than asking people questions and then going, well, she said to do this, so I'll do that. Then they said to do this, so I'll do that. No, ask people questions to get information, not answers. So.
And I want to add too, because you were saying about like, you know, your accountants, etc. Gather information from them, ask questions, and then you have to choose. I mean, even our accountant, you know, as you were saying, was telling us that we had all of our, you know, our ducks in one basket, all our eggs in one basket.
Can I tell a joke? It's horrible. But...
Hang on a second. All the eggs in one basket. And then when we sold them and bought this river house, she went, oh, I wish I'd known about that stock. But we told her about the stock. But until she saw us actually have the success from it, she wasn't willing to acknowledge that that could have been a possibility for her. Okay, what's your joke?
Okay, so what's contraception for an accountant? Their personality. Oh, that's bad.
My brother is an accountant. Everything that brought up, destroying and uncreated, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all named shorts, boys
Your
and young.
father was an accountant at the most sweetest man on the
Exactly.
planet.
My father was an accountant. He died a few years ago, and he was one of the sweetest, kindest men on the planet, and he was very, very knowledgeable on money and numbers. And the one thing he always taught me, though, was to educate yourself, ask questions, educate yourself.
I've got another number one tool. Read The Joy of Business.
Oh. Read the Joy of Business book, Brendon says. It's actually in 12 languages now, translated. So if you...
and another one. Listen to the archive of all of these shows.
He's just kicking goals right now, as we say. But my brother was also educated to be an accountant. And he came home from college one day really upset. And we were like, what are you upset about? And he said, well, I heard this joke today. And that was the joke he heard. You know, that your personality is a contraception for being an accountant. So we thought it was funny. My brother did not. So if you're an accountant, I love you, I adore you. And what if you actually ask questions of your clients too and empower them to know that they know? Now, that's actually the tagline of Access Consciousness, empowering you to know that you know. If you haven't checked out Access Consciousness yet, please do. Go to accessconsciousness.com. If anything, get your bars run. Your bars is this hands-on process, 32 points on your head, and when someone touches them lightly, it's like it starts to erase all of the judgments, the limitations, the fixed points of view you have around things about money, control, awareness, joy, sadness, aging, hopes and dreams, all of these different aspects of life and living. What if you could have your reality? What if that was about getting out of debt joyfully, that you could actually create your reality? You weren't functioning from somebody else's point of view. Because I can tell you so many times that people function from their parents' point of view or the culture they grew up in or the city they grew up in, whatever it is. What are you surrounded by? What mentality and what point of view are you surrounded by with money? That if you weren't surrounded by that and you didn't buy into it, you could actually create your own financial reality. And what would that be like for you? Everything it doesn't allow you to have that and be that, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So don't forget, 1st to the 3rd of September, I'm in Denver, Colorado. Actually, on the 31st of August, I'm going to be on Good Morning Denver on the TV show, I think at 7:45 or 8:15 or something like that, around that time in the morning. Check it out. So on Good Morning Denver. And if you'd like to know anything more about Access Joy Business, or if you want to contact us and ask for a special topic that you want us to talk about, you can email us at OMTimes@accessjoyofbusiness.com. So that's OMTimes@accessjoyofbusiness.com. So Brendon, I'm very, very grateful that you joined us here today. We have a few more minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to leave the listeners?
Tell them your other joke. That's
Wait.
Wait, I'll tell it because I want to tell it. So the screwdriver walks into a bar and he orders a drink and the barman says, "We've got a drink named after you." And the screwdriver says, "What, Phil?" See?
So I tell that joke all the time and Brendon says it's really bad, but I just laugh. I think it's funny. Yeah. It is funny. It is.
Yeah. It's just got to be said in the correct moment.
Right.
Yeah, you just got to, you got to feel it. You got to feel it.
So what do you find funny that somebody else doesn't find funny? What do you know that nobody else knows? That if you actually went with it, you would create a different financial reality. Emily, do you have any other questions or anything you want to add in these last 2 minutes?
That's the crazy thing to ask it after that joke.
Still trying to get it.
I know. I'm still trying to get the film joke.
You don't get it?
There's a
screwdriver. Okay. So the screwdriver walks into a bar, and the barman, as a screwdriver, right? Picture a screwdriver walking into the bar, and the barman says, "We have a drink named after you," which is obviously Screwdriver.
Right.
But the screwdriver looks at him like, "What, Phil?"
Because his name's Phil.
His name's Phil. It's really bad Aussie humour.
Good, yeah.
So anyway.
But one other thing I want to leave with is money follows joy. Joy does not follow money. Okay, so if you have that laughter that we just have, and you're willing to have that in your life, and we're on a serious radio show right now, right? But we're talking about stupid jokes. But that's the joy we have in our lives around money. So if you're willing to have joy in your life in regards to everything, including money, money will follow that. If you were having, let's say, for instance, you were having a party and you invited money, but you said there's going to be no drinks, there's going to be no dancing, there's going to be no laughter, there's going to be no fun allowed, do you think money would want to come to that party? So what if the party that you're inviting money to was about, hey, let's have some fun together? If money was an energy and you were willing to invite it into fun, would you have more in your life or less?
You'd have more, and you'd have absolutely no judgment. And that's the thing. What if you lived your life with no judgment? So don't judge your money situation that you have now. What if you just demanded that you can change it? So thank you so much, Brendon Watt, for joining me, and Emily for being here, being part of our crew.
And feel free to use our jokes. It's fine.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.